Hello and welcome to Original Soundchat, where video game music is a work of art. On each episode, it's our goal to help you learn about 2 soundtracks from the world of games, as well as the people, stories, and critical tracks behind them. My name is Joe DeVader.
And I'm Peter Spezia. We're brought to you by Anonymous Dinosaur and Rhymes with Asia. It's time to appreciate the great OSTs and the games they come from, without getting too bogged down in music theory. Up first this week for our 2 games is 2017's Sonic Mania, an official enthusiast-developed take on the levels and lore of the 2D side-scrolling Blue Blur.
Following that is a fan game made official meant to celebrate 2 flagship anniversaries that released during one of the Blue Bomber's most controversial periods, 2012's Street Fighter Cross Mega Man.
Yes, the theme this week is official fan-made games. Also, they're a series that we haven't touched on in a while, and also, to put them together in this episode here, they are alliterative blue nicknames.
Yeah, you got the Blue Blur for Sonic, you got the Blue Bomber for Mega Man, which I consistently forget that is one of his nicknames.
Right? But it's a good one. Joe, how you doing? What are you playing?
I rolled credits on Esquivel last night. It is very good, and also I just realized on Game Pass. So if you have Game Pass, you should absolutely check out Esquivel. It is a very good RPG that I had a good time with, and expect to hear about it on this show within the coming months. I already put it down as one of the episodes that's coming up sometime. I think right now it's in April, but releases could push that back. I also played a game called Heaven's Vault. I haven't finished it yet, but it is basically a game about doing space archaeology and trying to decipher a long-dead language. It's very interesting, but the most important thing that has happened in my life since we last recorded is that on Tuesday of last week, Matt started Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah!
He made it through Wonderland. But we're not going to do another stream on the day that this comes out, because we have some audio stuff that we got to figure out, that we have a solution, but it's not going to arrive until like next Friday. So we're not doing one that week, but past that, we're hoping to do weekly. It's been a lot of fun so far, and I'm super excited to get back to it.
Just glad that the series has started. I was almost hoping you were saying you got a PS5, but...
Oh, I wish. No. Matt got the closest any of us have gotten, because he got to the point where he had 10 minutes left in queue before it said it was sold out.
That's a bummer. Well, unfortunately, today is not that day, but hopefully sometime soon. I took about a month or 2 break from Hades, only to return to it and rattle off 7 straight clears, which means I have rolled credits on Hades.
Yeah.
So that last one was quite the surprise.
Yes, it sure is.
Kind of building that up and then, okay. All right. Well, interesting. Yeah, really nice ending. Happy to have that one checked off as rolling credits. It had been a while since I'd gotten back to it, but it's like, oh, if you want to tip everyone, casts are great. Calls are great. Use them.
Especially Poseidon's. Poseidon's call melts health bars.
Oh, Artemis's was amazing.
Artemis's is also really good.
Could not believe it. That was like, had not gotten that one until the last run, and it was ridiculous. Anyway, really good there. I also played Maiden, the Resident Evil Village demo. That looks real nice on PlayStation 5. I don't know if I'm going to get Village at launch, but it was tempting. Interesting lady stuff with those villains.
The description I've heard of that demo is, it's very pretty and there's nothing in it.
Oh, it's super short, and there's like a little letter that kind of guides what you need to do. It's basic Resident Evil Mansion fundamentals, essentially.
I'm very much looking forward to Village myself. I really hope I have I don't want to play the PS4 version. I've seen what happens when you play a PS5 game on a PS4 with Miles Morales. I want to play it on PlayStation 5. So hopefully I have one by then. We'll see.
Yeah, I think that's for the best. I think you're going to make the right call on that one, because it did look real nice for sure. But anyway, there's still a lot for me to play. I've got the Pathless to play. I've got to get back to Hitman 3. There's so much to play and not enough time. But in the meantime, let's talk about some composer follow-up news. Let's start with talking about the nominations for the DICE Awards that just recently posted online. Let's start out with mentioning the Outstanding Achievement in Original Composition Awards. Games are Carrion, Ghost of Tsushima, Little Orpheus, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, and The Pathless. I had not heard of Little Orpheus before, but it's an Apple Arcade release from 2020, composed by Jessica Curry, and I think that makes sense there for its inclusion then.
Yeah, I had also never heard of Little Orpheus. Being on Apple Arcade kind of makes sense for why I didn't. I don't have Apple Arcade. I don't really pay attention to what's coming out over there. Nothing against the service, I just don't have it. I'm kind of surprised that Hades did not show up on this list, though I find it absolutely hilarious that in a spot where Hades could be is another game with Orpheus.
That's fair. That's a good point.
I'm also a little bit surprised at Carrion being here. I like Carrion's soundtrack a lot, but I don't know if I'd peg it for one of the best soundtracks of the year. But I mean, hey, good for them. Good for Chris Velasco. From there, we also have Outstanding Achievement in Audio Design, so like, sound effects, all that kind of stuff. The nominees for that are Dreams, which I forgot was in 2020. That feels like cursed knowledge. Ghost of Tsushima, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, and Sackboy: A Big Adventure. I'm pretty sure I know what's going to get that, because regardless of my feelings on the game, I think Last of Us' sound design in both games is phenomenal. Yeah,
they really build a believable world on all fronts.
But from what I hear, I could see it be Ghost of Tsushima too, so who knows?
I feel like if they're like artistic worlds and things like that, visual artistic design there, I feel like that's Ghost of Tsushima's best chance of pulling some upsets there. Other games that we've talked about on this show, Coffee Talk is up for Outstanding Achievement for an Independent Game, and Tetris Effect Connected is up for Online Game of the Year.
Yeah, I also forgot that Tetris Effect Connected was this year.
And an Xbox exclusive for right now.
Oh boy. But then you got Game of the Year, the big boys. This isn't really music or sound based, but I mean, it's Game of the Year. You got Animal Crossing New Horizons, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, and The Last of Us Part 2, which is I'd say that's probably generally the group you see in that nominee pool for 2020.
Yeah, I think that's a fair collection of games. That's usually what you've seen. And even though The Last of Us Part 2 has surpassed The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt as the most awarded game ever, as far as how they keep track of those things, I think Hades takes it from DICE. This is the group that gave Untitled Goose Game of the Year last year. So,
yes.
So I feel like Hades isn't an unusual pick. It's been a Game of the Year choice for certain outlets out there, so I don't think it's a big out there choice. And you, of course. So yeah, I think DICE will go in Hades' direction this year.
I could also see it being Animal Crossing in terms of DICE, but I think you're right. I think it's going to end up being Hades. We'll just have to wait and see. The last bit of news is that The Medium, Bloober Team's new third-person horror game that has music by Silent Hill's Akira Yamaoka, is now out on Xbox Game Pass, and I installed it and then started hearing some pretty bad things. The game apparently has a lot of performance issues, like super big performance issues, as in the game is literally rendering two worlds at the same time and can barely handle doing that. But also, I've heard that it handles some heavy subjects with all the subtlety of a semi crashing through a mall.
Yeah, the whole two worlds thing is what they've been waiting to do all this time, and it's going to be interesting to see how they pull that off. But also, yeah, did you see that they put like a trigger warning notification at the beginning of the game and then don't even like say what those subjects will be? It's
I did not hear about that either.
Yeah, so not the best subtlety there. But yeah, I'm sure Akira Yamaoka's score is great on it.
That's the main reason I want to try playing it. It's installed on my PC, but I'm going to bet you money that I'm going to load it up and it's going to be running at like 10 frames a second.
And like base level specs.
I'll have to turn it into a PlayStation 1 game before I can run it.
Makes me think of that Potato YouTube series, which is fantastic. Oh my gosh. Let's talk about the first game of official fan remakes this week. We're going to talk about Sonic Mania, a game that is so long overdue. Both this game and the composer we've been dying to bring to the show, honestly.
And we've had a couple of like requests to do this one too.
Yes, certainly. So very happy to fulfill that. It's something we want to do more in 2021. So reach out to us at Soundchat OST on social media and let us know what games we should cover, because it's been a very long time since we covered Sonic the Hedgehog on the show, or at least it feels that way. We covered Sonic the Hedgehog 2 in episode 9, Sonic Adventure 2 in episode 17. Took until episode 76 to cover Sonic the Hedgehog 2006.
Man, that is a gap.
Episode 106 to talk about Sonic Mania, which was released for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch on August 15th, 2017. PC got the game a couple weeks later on August 29th. They also got like Sonic the Hedgehog, just the original game, free on Steam to kind of make up for that delay. Wikipedia also said that Amazon Luna got the game on October 21st, 2020. Amazon Luna, for those that don't know, is Amazon's cloud-based gaming thing that they're at least running through beta.
I thought that hadn't come out yet. I genuinely thought it hadn't started yet.
I think it's still maybe in beta, but it was on the Wikipedia page. I'm like, you know what? I forgot that was a thing. Sonic Mania was developed by Pagoda West Games and Headcanon, with Tantalus Media helping on development for the Switch version. The game is published by Sega. Sonic Mania is a side-scrolling platformer in the vein of the original Sonic the Hedgehog trilogy, and it's kind of meant to be emulated in the graphical style of like Sonic CD, which was for the Sega CD. You know, that game that had all the past, present, and future versions that I feel like I tried Sonic CD once upon a time and got stuck at a certain boss battle point. So the goal of Sonic the Hedgehog games, especially these classic side-scrolling ones, for those that don't know, you basically just have to run left to right, and you get to the end of the stage as quickly as possible by running and jumping, and you beat the boss at the end, whether it's a mid-boss or some version of Dr. Robotnik / Eggman. The plot of Sonic Mania: following the events of Sonic and Knuckles, Sonic and Tails detect a powerful energy reading on Angel Island and board their biplane, the Tornado, to investigate. However, Dr. Eggman sent an elite group of Egg Robos to reach the signal before Sonic and Tails. The Egg Robos excavate the source of the signal, a magical gemstone called the Phantom Ruby, just as Sonic and Tails arrive. The Egg Robos gain new powers from the Ruby, becoming the Hard-Boiled Heavies, and send Sonic, Tails, and the island's guardian, Knuckles, through zones that they have previously visited, where they pursue Eggman to prevent him from using the Ruby's power for evil, clashing with him and the Heavies along the way. Basically, can Sonic and company defeat Eggman and the Hard-Boiled Heavies, as well as the powers of the Phantom Ruby? Joe, here's where I'll ask you, what are our experiences with Sonic Mania?
I've never played it. Only heard people sing its praises. I'm not a huge Sonic fan. I have played one Sonic game that I really, really enjoyed, being Generations, and I don't know, it didn't do anything for me. I should probably try it at some point, but yeah, I've never played it.
That's so interesting, because I feel like I knew you had played Generations, and I thought, well, surely he's played Mania. No, I guess not. Interesting. I've played and beaten Sonic Mania, got it on Nintendo Switch, beat it on Switch. It's a good one to still, fire up and play every now and then, but I don't ever do like a full run through. I'm not good enough at Sonic games to be like, yeah, Super Sonic all the time, every time. No, but like I played through it and beat the game, and it was a fun time. It's a neat little homage to different stages and all sorts of references included in the game. It's for the Mania, by the Mania, or something like that. How Sega went about approaching this game as, really digging into the fan enthusiasm for the franchise and kind of bringing that about in this game.
The main thing I think about when I think about Sonic Mania is the amazing comparison to the other Sonic game that came out in 2017.
Correct. Yes. For those that don't know, this game was announced in 2016 as part of the 25th anniversary of Sonic the Hedgehog, alongside another console game, but more on the 3D Sonic side of things, Sonic Forces. Which I guess was better than Boom, but still not great.
I mean, so I watched my roommate play Forces, and I still have a moment where I'm pretty sure the life left his eyes. But I mean, Boom wasn't a bad game in terms of design like Forces is. Boom is just was thrown out the window too early.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fair. And we haven't received a 3D Sonic game since, but maybe with the 30th anniversary now upon us, maybe that will change. Development of Sonic Mania began in 2015, and it was led by Australian programmer Christian Taxman Whitehead. Now, Taxman, Christian Whitehead, was a prominent member in the Sonic fan game community, and had previously been contracted by Sega to develop remastered ports of Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic 2, and Sonic CD for mobile phones using his Retro engine. So he makes these really good upscaled versions of these classic Sonic games. And after developing this concept of a new game for a few months, Whitehead presented a prototype, which he called Sonic Discovery, to Sonic series producer Takashi Iizuka. Now, Iizuka liked it, but he suggested that it should include old levels from the early Sonic games, and maybe remix it in a way that felt new. And so overall, the title changed to Mania, and it stayed as Sonic Mania because nothing better was presented. So the zones in the game, there are 8 remade from past Sonic games, and there are 4 that are new. The zones that are remade include Green Hill, Chemical Plant, Flying Battery, Stardust Speedway, Hydro City, Oil Ocean, Lava Reef, and Metallic Madness. It's a pretty good spread from, one from Sonic 1, a couple from 2, a couple from 3 and Knuckles, a couple from CD. The ones that are new, though, include Studiopolis, Press Garden, Mirage Saloon, and Titanic Monarch. So yes, this game was produced in commemoration of the series' 25th anniversary, even though it released the year after. The graphical capabilities were aimed to land between the capabilities of the Sega Genesis and the Sega Saturn, with Sonic 3 and Sonic CD as inspirations for level design. Overall, the game reviewed well, with a Metacritic score of 86 on PS4 and Switch, 84 on PC, and 83 on Xbox One. It became the best reviewed Sonic game in 15 years, and it's generally frequently described nowadays as the best 2D Sonic game ever. The presentation, the level design, the music, and the faithfulness to the early Sonic games were big points of praise. But a main criticism was its supposed lack of originality, for seeing some of these classic levels that we've seen in previous Sonic games repurposed, and only so many were new. And I guess that's fair, but it was an anniversary sort of homage game, and I guess that makes sense in that sense. But since it released in 2017, big year for Game Awards. So Sonic Mania didn't win too many, or wasn't nominated for too many. I mean, it was nominated for Best Family Game at the Game Awards. It won the People's Choice Award for Best Original Music at IGN. That's well deserved there. But it was also nominated for Best Platformer at IGN. It was nominated for Best PC Game from Destructoid, Best Platformer from PC Gamer, and Best Surprise from Giant Bomb. The legacy of Sonic Mania, there's an expanded version of the game, a DLC expansion called Sonic Mania Plus, which released July 17th, 2018, almost a year later. It featured Mighty the Armadillo and Ray the Flying Squirrel as playable characters with their own abilities, as well as additional modes and tweaks. So, who did they get to compose for one of the best 2D Sonic games of all time? It's a composer by the name of T. Lopes. So, Tiago T. Lopes was born on November 19th in Coimbra, Portugal. If I had to guess based on deduction, born around 1986-87. Comes from a family of music enthusiasts, and he came to the United States at the age of 15 in 2002, and he currently lives and works in New Jersey. After he graduated high school in the States, he worked on a career as a self-taught beatmaker and rapper, releasing many hip-hop songs in Portuguese. And he ended up winning several remix contests and being featured on hip-hop magazines and mixtapes back in his home country of Portugal, all the way across the ocean. But then opportunity knocked for work in the game industry. He started posting Sonic remixes on his YouTube channel in 2008, which got the attention of Jared Castle and Tom Fry. After they all worked well together on Sonic the Hedgehog 2 HD, Pagoda West Games was formed, and Lopes was hired to compose the soundtrack for the 2013 award-winning iOS game Major Magnet. T. Lopes notes Streets of Rage 2 as one of his favorite games of all time, and he really looks up to Yuzo Koshiro's work. He says he also would like to work on Mega Man, Mario, and Castlevania franchises as far as if he got the chance to work on music for those series. Specifically likes Symphony of the Night of all the Castlevania games. So he's known predominantly as a video game composer, but a biography notes that he's also a songwriter, singer, arranger, voiceover artist, DJ, and occasional graphic designer. You can follow him on Twitter at @TLopesMusic, and his YouTube channel is at @TLopes. The discography for T. Lopes includes games like Fling, Prisma, Sonic the Hedgehog 2 HD, Major Magnet, Lords of New York, Circle Frenzy, Nom Chops, Snap Pals. So a lot of these Pagoda West games that I hadn't heard of before. But then Sonic Mania came through. He also worked on Mighty Fight Federation, worked on Team Sonic Racing, and also did the English opening for Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom, as well as a little bit of work for League of Legends. He also composed the music for Sonic Mania Adventures, which was an animated series that ran on YouTube around the same time of Sonic Mania, and his first album, Universe, that's Y-O-U, Universe, released in 2018. The soundtrack of Sonic Mania consists of rearranged pieces from previous Sonic games alongside new material, and Lopes was chosen due to his popularity on YouTube for producing arrangements of various Sonic tracks and also for his work on the Sonic 2 HD project. Lopes initially wanted his score to resemble the Sonic CD soundtrack, and he tried to imagine what a sequel to it might have sounded like. But as development progressed, he took inspiration from other older Sonic and Sega games, such as The Revenge of Shinobi from 1989 and the Sega Rally games, as well as 1990s pop music, including the work of Michael Jackson, which only makes sense with the Sonic soundtracks of the past. He says, quote, "Although I wanted to make something that everyone could enjoy, I must confess that I specifically aimed to make older Sonic fans feel like they're kids again." And boy, did T. Lopes succeed. Let's get to the 5 critical tracks for Sonic Mania and hear what this sounds like. But we start with a different song altogether, and that is Friends. So, Friends is not composed by T. Lopes. In fact, it's composed and performed by the band Hyper Potions. This plays during the opening cinematic of Sonic Mania, and it's just so stupidly infectious and perfect with its chip tune, and it just really gets in your head and goes so well with that animation. I feel like it's important not only because it's a perfect way to get you into the vibe and love of the Sonic series that is in this game, but to the point where this song was also used in the 6th highest grossing film worldwide in 2020. That's right, Sonic the Hedgehog. If you're wondering, the Hollywood films that beat it out were Bad Boys for Life and Tenet. There were also a couple other Chinese films and a Demon Slayer film, anime film in Japan that beat it out for worldwide gross. But yeah, it's in that intro cinematic, and like when you watch that movie in theaters and you're a big Sonic fan, and you hear friends come up in there, like that's just like the biggest mind blow and just heartwarming thing to hear that callback. So good. What a great song.
I think it's because I was not familiar with the song before this. I don't remember it. It's at the beginning of the movie?
Yeah.
Okay. This song is like super delightful. I think you mentioned like infectiously catchy. Like, this song is delightful. It makes me happy to hear, and I haven't even played the game. So, yeah, this definitely pulls off the right mood, I think, from what I've seen of Mania.
It's one of those ones where it's like it's not in the game proper, but I cannot separate the two. I always think of this song when it comes to Sonic Mania, so it had to be here for me. I don't think it's even like on the soundtrack because it's not T. Lopes. Anyway, let's get to T. Lopes' music, and specifically the song from Sonic Mania that he created from scratch. Number 2 on the Critical 5, this is Lights, Camera, Action.
Lights, camera, action.
This is the music for Studiopolis Zone Act 1, and this is the first taste of entirely new zone music that you get in the game. And I feel like it's become the iconic piece from the game. And, you know, because you get the main menu, the stage select music, and like that's all good, but once you get in the game itself, it's Green Hill, it's Chemical Plant, and for Act 1, like those are played pretty straight, but then Act 2 gets a little bit of T. Lopes remixing it, but then this song comes out of nowhere in the third zone. And wow, it's incredible. T. Lopes says that this is pretty much the same version that was initially introduced to the team. Like it hardly changed. And whereas the first act here is more about cinema, the second act of the zone is about television. So interesting to hear him talk about like the different inspirations there. But wow, Lights, Camera, Action, it's included in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Like that's like they picked the one song from this game and I'm like, yep, that's what we're putting in the future for Smash Brothers. I mean, it's the one, I think.
Yeah, every time somebody talks about Mania, Studiopolis always comes up, especially when talking about the music. You know what this gives me vibes from? It feels like almost like something I'd hear from what I now know of Danganronpa from you doing the episodes. This feels almost like a song that might have come from those games.
Kind of, I could see that.
But like, oh man, I like the jazziness, always interesting to see what people do with vocal samples.
Yeah, and that's T. Lopes himself. Like he records the vocals and then compresses it down to sounds like it's coming from the 90s or that kind of era. It's super cool, and it's not the last time we'll hear samples like that.
Interesting. Yeah. No, this song rules. I think it is my favorite song on the Critical 5, like, bar none.
It's a good pick, but my favorite comes in the form of number 3 on the Critical 5. This is High Spec Robo Go. So at the end of Studiopolis Zone Act 1, you get this boss. That's the first battle against a hard-boiled heavy. Wow, it's a really tough boss, I think, for my skill level. And the fact that like the difficulty curve just kind of ramps up, especially after the first two zone bosses against Eggman. But it's so good, and its music is one of those ones where like you're dying over and over, and you keep running your head into the wall of this boss fight. But you don't mind because the music is so good. It turns up the intensity right away. And T. Lopes is a madman, just incredible with how much energy he's able to inject in this song. For a boss where you're doing the endless running, essentially, and you have to dodge rockets that are kind of being aimed at you, but hit one specific one. And with the ups and downs of the running, like your jumps and how that kind of gets thrown off. So sometimes you're a sitting duck to these rockets, but this song is so good. And so whenever I hear it, I'm thrown immediately back into that moment. But, hating the boss battle, loving the music.
Yeah, this song has some crazy energy. I get, for this one, Jet Set Radio vibes.
Yes. Oh, yeah, for sure.
I think this is a very close second for me. I think I still like Studiopolis more. But yeah, this song is really cool.
Number 4 on the Critical 5. Let's tone it down and just vibe a little bit more. This is Blossom Haze. So this plays in Press Garden Zone, Act 2, and it specifically pays homage to Yuzo Koshiro's work in The Revenge of the Shinobi. Specifically when it comes to, like, there's the stage's themes of, like, sakura blossoms all around, and yet you're in this, like, printing press that nature's kind of taken over. It's kind of like the ice level of the game, too. There are all these different frozen blocks or whatever. And T. Lopes kind of echoes this by, as he says, dropping the temperature in the track with a bit of a cold, ethereal sound in the chorus. You kind of hear it near the end of the clip with all these chimes that kind of come in. I think 2 stands out more certainly than Press Garden Act 1. And it makes sense then when T. Lopes notes that Act 2's track was created first, and he wanted then Act 1 to be, quote, a commercial printer remix of Act 2. So I feel like, yeah, more of the creative from scratch juices were put into this one, and it really shows. But it's just a different vibe than the other tracks so far.
But wait, what does that mean? Commercial printer remix? What does that mean?
So the stage has, like, it's built in like a press shop. And so like there was these different like letter blocks and like those different metal spools and things like that. So it kind of echoes the stage theme, but kind of make it a little more mechanical. Kind of, just go like by the numbers in a way, by the letters.
Interesting. Okay. That makes a lot more sense then, because I'm sitting there like reading those words on the outline. I'm just like, what? This song is very, very good. I'm never really drawn to the slightly more low-key songs on a Sonic soundtrack, if that makes sense. Because it just feels counterintuitive to me.
Yeah, and I feel like for me, that's what makes it stand out more, because you're right, it's not the typical Sonic fare, but it just sounds so good, and it really complements the atmosphere of the zone. But we'll bring it back up for number 5 on the Critical Tracks. It has to be the final boss, Ruby Illusions. man, just the orchestral hits in this one. The way that, again, T-Lopes just cranks up the energy here, makes it really mechanical, and you're kind of channeling these powers of the Ruby, if you will, the Phantom Ruby. Really cool vocal samples in here again. The 4, 3, 2, 1. Great stuff. Honestly, I saw a YouTube comment that I think Sonic fans will appreciate, where this commenter said, quote, "This is where you insert, 'Well done, Sonic, but you'll never make it out of this room alive.' Ha ha!" That fits from Sonic Adventure 2 there. But yeah, wow. I mean, I think for Sonic games, especially these retro ones, you have to have a killer final boss piece. And T-Lopes delivers here in Sonic Mania.
I need to ask a question about the final boss. Is it with that character from Forces?
It isn't, because the Ruby's in Forces. I didn't play Forces, but the Ruby's in Forces, right?
Yeah, it's like the energy thing that powers Infinite, the stupidest character they've introduced in a really long time, and I love him.
As much as I love, in a weird, ironic ways, Infinite's boss battle theme, I feel like the Ruby is like, that's the only connection, and Infinite is not in Mania.
Okay. It's very, very good, yes. It sounded like very sinister, which is why I was like, is it him? Because that would be hilarious if he was in a good game.
If there was a vocal sample of, "So look around you and tell you what you really..." That'd be kind of amazing, actually. Let's get to the cutting room floor. Joe, you have a couple here. Tell me what your cutting room floor tracks are.
So the first one was a suggestion from you, which I'm glad I was not aware of this track beforehand, and I'm glad you brought it to my attention. It is Dimension Heist. This plays on the Chaos Emerald special stage. Like I said, wasn't familiar with the song before, but it's just got this really, really good energy to it. Kind of in the same vein as Friends a little bit.
Yeah.
But it just goes, and it's got this nice little hoppy energy to it, and it's real damn good.
I threw it out there because I thought you'd like it, but also because it was in real close consideration for our Best of 2017 inclusion. Spoiler, Sonic Mania is one of the best soundtracks of 2017. I don't think that's
100%.
saying too much, but yeah, Dimension Heist was in real close contention there, so I wanted to throw it out there for you as one.
Yeah, and it's really good, and I'm glad to help you get one more out there. I am familiar with the other one, though, being Versus Metal Sonic. Metal Sonic is the boss of Stardust Speedway Zone Act 2. This is a remix of, I believe, the Japanese version from CD originally?
I believe so, yes. And so it makes it, I think, the only song we're covering here that is a direct remake, or at least, T-Lopes putting his spin on it, of a classic Sonic song.
This song, the Generations version, is my favorite song on the Generations soundtrack. And that's saying something, because that soundtrack is incredible. But it's also my favorite boss fight in Sonic Generations. So I have a real good connection to this song, and I had to throw it on here.
That's really interesting. I mean, I agree with you. I love the track. It's a classic for sure. But I do not like the Metal Sonic fights usually. I always have a big problem with them. It's probably why I also struggle with that Hard-Boiled Heavies battle in Studiopolis. But yeah, no, I think it's a really, really good inclusion. I'm glad we at least mentioned something. I mean, we could have talked, Chemical Plant and T-Lopes' cover on that, but we've already talked about that in Sonic 2, and it's just an amazing soundtrack overall. So I have a couple on my cutting room floor. One of them also really close. If we didn't include Friends, this would have definitely been in the critical 5. So take that for what it's worth. This is Danger on the Dance Floor. This is the mini-boss theme, or at least I should say most Act 1 mini-bosses. And there was a whole article that was like Lopes kind of breaking down what he thought about this track. Kind of made me wonder, should I then put it on the critical 5? But no, I think it's good and fitting here. It's a solid critical 5 we have. So he notes that, quote, I definitely wanted something that conveyed danger, but in a silly yet stylish way, with some dark chords and a goofy melody. I wanted it to be childish, cheeky, with an almost mocking tone, as if to provoke the player right into the fight, but over a beat with an attitude, because I still needed Sonic to respect his wacky opponent. I thought it was a light, fun way to introduce the player to boss fights. And boy, that sums it up perfectly, I think. As I noted, his Go and other vocal samples in the song were recorded by Lopes himself at his studio, and then processed into sounding like it was a 90s sample. This song also borrows inspiration from Michael Jackson's Blood on the Dance Floor, which if you hear that song, yeah, you can hear the comparison. And again, Michael Jackson, especially in a Sonic 3 inspired game, yeah, that checks out. That makes sense.
Yeah, and I can hear it too. Like it's pretty visible. Visible? It's a song. It's pretty audible. But yeah, no, this is a really good song. I like the groove to it, especially with that heavy piano, the dun 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 dun. Though it reminds me of the melody that plays when the shark is about to bite you in Treasure Trove Cove and Banjo-Kazooie.
That's fair. That's a good comparison. Yeah.
I find that funny.
The next one, maybe a bit of a spoiler, if you want to even consider spoilers to be in Sonic Mania. This is Eggman Mean Bean. All right, Joe, it's been over 3 years. Brace yourself. So, the boss of Chemical Plant Zone Act 2, you're not doing anything with blue gloop or whatever, purple gloop. No, you're running down this chute, and then you fall into a Mean Bean Machine match with Eggman. You're playing Puyo Puyo as a boss in Sonic Mania. And this is the song that goes with it.
This is literally the only boss in the game I know about. Because people were like freaking out when they started finding it. And I find it absolutely hilarious because, wow, I don't usually spend time. Sega doesn't even usually spend time thinking about Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine.
Exactly. I think it was really hard to keep that secret, but in case you're still in the dark out there. No, it's such an out there boss fight using a totally different skill set. And it was delightful to come across. And man, the music is so good. It fits so well. And I just needed to put it here.
Sounds way too sinister to be a Puyo Puyo boss.
Yeah, I can see that. So what will I never forget about Sonic Mania? I mean, Sonic 2D side-scrolling games were my youth. The first console game I remember playing ever was Sonic the Hedgehog 2. So for me to come to this and just such a delight, such a delightful game. I also remember bringing my Switch to England, and one of our listeners out there, DVD Smith, kicked my ass in the Sonic Mania multiplayer. But, good memories with that all told. Just a really delightful franchise love letter, honestly. And part of me hopes that there's a Sonic Mania 2 eventually in the works, but with new levels. I mean, like, to keep this style, but with new levels and more Lopes music. I mean, that'd be the dream, but we'll see with Sonic's 30th anniversary this year.
Well, they claim there's something in the works, but who knows?
And if Microsoft ends up buying another big publisher like Sega this year, so help me.
Oh, if Microsoft buys Sega, that's going to be like the most... That would be the insane one. I don't think they'll do it, but...
It's not improbable, though.
I'd actually get sad because that would mean that I'd have to buy an Xbox for new Yakuza games. But then again, maybe they'd all play like Yakuza 7, and therefore I wouldn't want to play them. All right, you can have them, Microsoft. Never mind.
So to transition to our next game, let's talk about a fan remix, fan cover, whether it's on OC Remix, YouTube, whatever. This one comes from Retrospector. And I know so many of the great YouTubers, like the metal guitarists and things out there, they've done so many great Sonic Mania covers, so many songs, and just it's a lot, and there's great stuff out there. But Retrospector here does a Metal Sonic Boss remix and amps it up pretty hard. It's pretty cool. I think you'll like it. Please enjoy, and we'll be right back.
All right, let's get into what I think is probably a deeper pull, considerably, being Street Fighter Cross Mega Man. So, Street Fighter Cross Mega Man was originally released on December 17th, 2012 for PC. It was developed by a solo developer. It goes by the name of, and I apologize, I'm going to pronounce this the best I can, Siu Zong Hui, and it was published by Capcom. Hui is based out of Singapore. It was originally a fan project that was meant to celebrate the 25th anniversary of Capcom's two flagship franchises, being, in case you didn't get it from the name of the game, Street Fighter and Mega Man, both of which are series that started in 1987. In terms of gameplay, it's pretty much through and through a Mega Man game. We've talked about multiple Mega Man games at this point. Mega Man 3, all the way back in episode 9, Mega Man X, all the way back in 57, and then Mega Man 2 in 74. So it's also been a real long time since we have jumped into Monstropolis and did the jump and shooting. It is a 2D platformer where Mega Man must jump and shoot his way through obstacle course style levels to make his way to a boss at the end. But unlike a regular Mega Man game, instead of the Robot Masters being his opponents, it's various members of the Street Fighter cast. Specifically, it is Ryu, Relento, Dalsim, Urien, Blanca, Chun-Li, Sea Viper, and Rose. There are also endgame boss fights with Vega, Balrog, and M. Bison. See, I can say it like that, and then nobody can get confused because it's just all three of them. And there's also a secret boss fight with Akuma that can be unlocked with certain conditions. These stages can be challenged in any order. The main ones, not the endgame boss stuff. And Mega Man, once he defeats one of these Street Fighters, he will gain the ability to use their signature move. For instance, Ryu's Hadouken, Urien's Aegis Reflector, and Chun-Li's Lightning Kick, etc., etc., etc. I didn't realize there was a story to Mega Man Cross Street Fighter, but apparently there is, according to Wikipedia. Quote, having fought countless robot masters over the years, Mega Man is ready to lie back, relax, and enjoy his 25th anniversary. Getting wind of this, Ryu and his fellow Street Fighters want one last battle before they let their own anniversary finish. So this is where I'll ask, Peter, what are your experiences with Street Fighter Cross Mega Man?
Right now, I am looking at sfxmm_us.exe on my computer. Date modified December 17th, 2012. I have this game. I've never played this game. So you're right. It is a deep cut. It's a deep pull, but yeah, I've got it. I own it.
I think I own it. Or own, it was a free download, but like, I think I downloaded it when it came out. I don't think I have it anymore. I've also never played it more than like maybe 10 minutes. It seems fine, but when you mentioned that you were going to do Sonic Mania this week, I was like, what's like another fan game that like weirdly got turned official? And I couldn't think of anything until I remembered that this game existed.
This game does exist, yeah.
This seemed like the logical option. I don't know. So, as stated before, this game was developed by a solo dev, Mr. Hui, and he, like I said, is based out of Singapore, but he attended EVO 2012, where he was given the opportunity to show an early build of this game to Capcom's Senior VP of Consumer Software, Christian Svensson. Svensson proceeded to show that same early build to multiple members of Capcom's staff, and you might be thinking, wait, isn't that the best way to get slapped with a good old cease and desist, as we are used to in this industry? Yes, but Capcom, surprisingly, didn't go that way. Instead, they agreed to assist with development, not with actually making the game. That stayed with Hui. He was able to keep to his original vision and all that, but Capcom did provide funding, marketing, and even gave him access to their QA teams. And that's weird to think about. Usually the only franchises that get that sort of, not really that sort of treatment, but like Sonic is basically the only one I can think of where they let fan games just exist. But, I mean, they must have seen something, though, to be fair, it should be noted, in case you are too young to remember this game kind of came out during a, let's say, tumultuous time in Mega Man's history. And by that, I mean Capcom blatantly didn't seem to care about Mega Man anymore. This was in 2012, and in 2011, they had canceled Mega Man Legends 3, canceled Mega Man Universe, which was sort of the Mario Maker Mega Man game.
Mm-hmm.
When Marvel vs. Capcom 3 came out, Mega Man was a no-show on the roster, and a lot of people kind of took Street Fighter Cross Mega Man. They took this, oh, it's a fan game? You're just like putting your name on a fan game? That's the anniversary? What? Really? That's your anniversary celebration? It sort of said to people that they didn't really have any plans of their own, so maybe that played a part in it. I don't know. But yeah, this was a time in which Capcom kind of threw Mega Man into the trash, and to be perfectly honest, they haven't really fully fished him back out yet.
I mean, they did Mega Man 11, but you're right. I mean,
oh yeah, but that was 8 years after Mega Man 10.
Yeah, true.
This was the only Mega Man anything that came out between those two games. So, Capcom made the decision that the game would pretty much only be released on PC, at least initially, mostly due to the fact that Hui did not really have a license to develop on any of the consoles at the time. This would be the PS3, the Xbox 360, and the Wii, and arguably the Wii U. I love how that's the one that's arguably. But they also wanted to keep the game free for fans to download, which, I mean, hey, that's kind of cool. Svensson had noted that a console release would be put under consideration, but considering most people have forgotten this game exists 9 years later, obviously that did not pan out. Unfortunately. But even being a small project, they still had some stuff that wasn't able to make it into the final release. For instance, the character Yang was originally meant to be a boss, but he ended up being replaced by Chun-Li, which, I mean, yeah, why was Chun-Li not planned from the beginning? She's like the second most iconic Street Fighter character. Hui had also wanted to include alternate costumes for all of the bosses, which I think would have been hilarious, but I assume didn't happen because the problem with sprites is that they're a lot harder to do like alternate stuff for. And also he wanted to have a second playable character, this one being from Street Fighter, but that didn't work out either.
I wonder if he would have done like Ken or something like that.
That would probably, yeah. I've been trying to think of like, who would it be? But it'd be hilarious if it was Ken. So upon release, Svensson mentioned through Capcom Unity, which was the community site at the time. It might still be. I think it still is. He mentioned that the game had destroyed Capcom's expectations in terms of download numbers. By March 3rd, 2013, the game had been downloaded 1 million times. And the amount of people going to download it shortly after release were so large that it put significant strain on Capcom's web servers. The game, in terms of reception, mixed. It currently sits at a 71 on Metacritic. People really enjoyed the soundtrack. People were kind of mixed on the overall level design. Some people saying, oh, it's great. And other people saying, like, this is like a huge step down from classic Mega Man. And it was noted that the game didn't really hold up as well as the classic entries in the series, which, I mean, that's fair. It was made by one guy. The fact that he even got it out in the first place is nothing short of a miracle. And the fact that it was in the state it was, though granted, it was also panned for having unclear UI design and a significant amount of crash-causing bugs. It also received a lot of criticism for the fact that it didn't have a save feature at launch.
What?
You couldn't save your progress. And then when they did an updated release that added saving on January 28th, 2013, it was a password system in the vein of the original NES games. Why? Why? Just put in a save button. And he also added a secret boss fight with Sagat. But like a password system? Really? It's not 1989 anymore.
Staying true to the vision, though.
I guess.
I still have version 1.00, so yeah, I guess I need to get that patch.
And like I mentioned earlier, this is the closest Mega Man got to a new game between 2010's Mega Man 10 and 2018's Mega Man 11. Not a single new Mega Man game in that span of time outside of this fan game that Capcom essentially last minute slapped their name on. It was not a great time to be a Mega Man fan, folks. And considering they've still only released one Mega Man game since then, arguably still not a great time to be a Mega Man fan, though he is in Smash. Since then, he has shown up in Super Smash Bros. Apparently, this is unrelated to Cross Street Fighter. I learned, because I needed to go and make sure when Mega Man Legends 3 was canceled, I learned that apparently last year in June, the composer for Mega Man Legends 1 and 2 asked people if they'd be willing to crowdfund Mega Man Legends 3.
I feel like I remember that story, but it's also like, where were you when that was a thing?
And the two things that bother me about that is, one, it's only the composer that's asking that. He's the only one that seems to care if the game happens or not. And two, you're Capcom. You're one of the biggest publishers out of Japan. Pay for the damn game yourself. Well, whatever. Let's talk about the person who did the music for Street Fighter Cross Mega Man, because that's really the main event here. His name is Luke Esquivel, but he also goes by Alex Esquivel on some credits, but he's more widely known as A_Rival. I'm assuming that, like, either Luke or Alex is his middle name, and he goes by that. I'm not 100% sure. I found him listed as both names on VGMDB, so who knows. He actually started his career in games working in Nokia's gaming division back when Nokia games were a thing.
Also when Nokia's stock wasn't getting blown up here.
Yeah, that's timely. But yeah, I don't know why I find that kind of funny, but of all the places for him to come from, I mean, somebody had to do music for those games.
Right.
It makes sense. At current time, he is an electronic dance artist that is based out of Seattle, and a member of the EDM trio Super Square, alongside DJ Jimmy Hitz and vocalist Helen Eugene. He serves as the group's producer. I don't know if he works on music himself in this group. It's very unclear, but I do know for sure that he is the group's producer. He's known in musical circles around his area for his chip-hop style music. That's right, kids. I brought 2 chiptune composers in a row. He regularly headlines at clubs around LA, or did in the before times. And he has also performed at events like PAX and MagFest. He also seems to do a lot of Street Fighter remixes on his YouTube channel. Like a lot of them, which certainly explains why he would be so eager to jump into a game like this.
Probably another theme compared to these two games, with T. Lopes doing a lot of Sonic remixes on his YouTube channel.
Also, both games were for anniversaries. I'm just now realizing that. Man, this
25th anniversaries, no less.
This is the most synergistic theming we've ever had.
It just shows you picked the perfect one.
You can follow him on Twitter at 8BitPimp. That's the number 8BitPimp. Good name. His discography, as far as I can tell, he hasn't really done music for a lot of games. He's, of course, done this game, Street Fighter Cross Mega Man, but he also provided alternate soundtracks on both Crypt of the Necrodancer and Cadence of Hyrule most recently. So you can hear his work in both of those games as well. And I highly recommend it because his versions are real damn good. And his Street Fighter remixes are also real good. So, in terms of historical development research for the soundtrack of this game, Esquivel ended up on the project simply by approaching Quay and asking to be the game's full-time musician. He decided to do this because he had compared his own work to a musician that Quay had worked with in the past, and I guess it was a very similar style. And Hui agreed, so the game's soundtrack is actually built around combining various themes from classic Mega Man and the various famous character themes from Street Fighter, or more accurately, a lot of them are like Street Fighter tunes, but with bits and pieces of Mega Man music and reworked to sound more in line with how a Mega Man song would sound. And it turns out that putting those two together works really well.
Yes, it does. It really does.
But there are 2 songs that do feature small pieces of original composition by Esquivel alongside the mashup Nature, and you can actually buy this soundtrack on his Bandcamp page at rival.bandcamp.com, which is my new favorite Bandcamp URL. I don't know what it is. It's something about it. The simplicity is perfect. It's just, what do they call you? A rival. All right, my address is rival.
Was rival.bandcamp taken?
Maybe? I don't know. But I'm glad it was if it was, because I love this URL. I don't know why I'm drawn to it so hard. So let's get into the 5 critical tracks, shall we? And it makes sense to start with critical track number 1, main theme. So a lot of this information comes from YouTube comments of people trying to tell me what parts. Some of them are very obvious when it comes to what themes are being used. Some of them aren't so much. For instance, this one is a mashup of the original Street Fighter II title theme, as well as using elements from both Mega Man 2's opening theme and the Get Weapon theme. But this is also one of the songs that features a bit of original composition from Esquivel himself. It's a really, really neat song. I don't think I was actually that familiar with the main opening theme of Street Fighter 2. When I think of Street Fighter 2, I usually pretty much only think of character themes.
Yeah, fair.
But from the sound of it, translates really well into 8-bit.
And yeah, it is neat to hear original music. It fits super well, though. You definitely hear that Mega Man 2 opening inspiration. It's just really cool to hear like this as like a sample of what we're going to hear with the combination of styles of the Street Fighter melodies with the sound fonts and sound effects and things like that of Mega Man to infuse that style into what's essentially a Mega Man game, right? But yeah, it's a good start here, and I think it only gets better, especially if you're familiar with these Street Fighter songs.
Mm-hmm. And so from here, the next two tracks are a bit of they're not what I expected to put on this Critical 5. Well, that's not true. This Critical track number 2 was kind of an easy pick because it's Sea Viper's theme. Remember Sea Viper?
Yeah.
As far as I could tell, this one actually doesn't seem to be a mashup of anything, because Esquivel himself was in the YouTube comments, and his comment read as follows, quote, "It's a riff based on a phrase from Sea Viper's UMVC3 theme. I expanded it up to be a bit more Mega Man-like." Which...
God, I forgot she was in Ultimate Marvel.
Yeah, that's the only... I didn't play a lot of 4, so Marvel was like my big sort of introduction to Viper. I kind of forget that Viper exists most of the time, because she is not one of the characters that came back. But yeah, this song is super good, and you've got that like... Man, the 8-bit Mega Man drum kit is so good.
Yeah.
It's so good. And this song, like, makes fantastic use of it, though it's a little weird to hear Viper's theme without the "My name is Viper" or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's been a really long time since I listened to that song. But that's where my brain first goes every time I think of it. But this version is just absolutely fantastic.
You're right. The My Name is Viper, Crimson Viper. Like I think of it certainly when I hear this 8-bit rendition of it, but I do like how it gets the like the real energy of that piece. Yeah, I just totally think of Crimson Viper from Street Fighter 4. Just yeah, she was an Ultimate, wasn't she? Wow. Okay. When I heard this for the first time, not knowing the soundtrack of the game, and I see Sea Viper's theme, this is exactly what I would have expected it to be. And yeah, Esquivel nailed it.
100%. So the next one is the surprise one, because I'm not super familiar with this character outside of like he's in 5 and he came from 3 or something like that. I don't remember. It's the Urien theme. So this is a mashup of Urien's theme from Street Fighter 3 and some of the aspects of Skullman from Mega Man 4. I'm not super familiar with Urien as a character, like I said, and I really didn't expect this one to jump out as hard as it did, but this song might actually be my favorite on the soundtrack. It is really cool. Urien's a villain, I believe, so this sort of almost sinister version of it is very interesting. And yeah, this song just rules.
It just fits so perfectly as a Mega Man theme too. Like, just great rendition of it. Again, you're right. I'm not too familiar with Urien as a character or his theme, certainly compared to all of the other themes on this list. But you're right. It goes hard and it totally synergizes and fits in the Mega Man universe and vibe.
But let's pull it back to a character that you and I do know with critical track number 4, Boxer Balrog theme. From what I can tell, it's kind of unclear what song this is being mashed up with. Though the one I read the most in the comments that made the most sense to me is I think it's supposed to be Sparkman from Mega Man 3. I think.
I could hear that, yeah.
And there might also be like parts of Quickman in there too. You can kind of hear that. It's a little iffy. I don't know if either of those are correct, but obviously those are being mashed up with Balrog's theme from Street Fighter. Or if you live in Japan, they're being matched up with M. Bison's theme, which is why we have to call him Boxer because of the stupidest localization choice in the history of man. That just never got reversed, and it's too late now. No, I feel like I have to explain this real quick now. So, basically, the 3 main villain characters of Street Fighter II are M. Bison, Vega, and Balrog, except in Japan, the character we know as M. Bison is named Vega, the character we know as Vega was named Balrog, and the character we know as Balrog was M. Bison. The first one makes sense. They changed the Boxer to be Balrog because it was a little on the nose to call the character M. Bison, and they didn't want to get sued by Mike Tyson. But the second one is the stupidest reason in the world, which is, for some reason, the localization director looked at Claw and said, Balrog's not girly enough a name for this character. Or it might have been like Vega's too girly of a name for Dictator. Either way, they switched those 2 names, and that's why they did it. It's the stupidest localization choice the video game industry has ever seen, and it's the only one that, like, it's that and setting Phoenix Wright in Los Angeles that just, they're stuck with it now. And they're stupid. Anyways, this theme's really good. It's one of my favorite themes from the original Street Fighter II. It's up there with Cammy and Ken, which unfortunately neither of them are in this game. But Balrog's theme is fantastic. Though it didn't ever sound villainy to me, and I think this game sorta fixes that a little bit, but not a lot. I don't know.
Yeah, especially when I think of its renditions in like Street Fighter 4. I mean, I think this is a really good take on it, but you're right, it never had that villain vibe to the point where like I forget he's considered a villain.
Yeah.
But yeah, wow. My bike money or my fight money. I had to, like, you just got to when it comes to Balrog Boxer.
That's the best death sound in Street Fighter V. Oh my god, I love it. So, let's end off the Critical 5 with track number 5, ending theme. As far as I can tell, this is a rearrangement of the Street Fighter II ending theme on the Super Nintendo version, specifically, apparently, but using bits and pieces in the same sound font as Mega Man 2's credits theme. And also, this is the other song that sort of features a little more original composition on Esquivel's part, This is a very close second for me in terms of favorite song in the game. It is just really good and has this very triumphant feel to it, and I dig it a lot. So in terms of tracks on the cutting room floor, you got a couple. Hit me up.
So yeah, here's the thing. Like I do know Street Fighter songs, so it's easy to go into this soundtrack and be like, yep, this is a good one. This is a good one. I gotta go with Chun-Li's theme. It's a classic. Gotta bring it up when you talk about Street Fighter songs. And to Mega Man-ize it, especially when you're using a lot of the sound fonts from Crash Man in Mega Man 2, which you definitely hear with the drums for sure. But yeah, no, it's a good take on it and just a classic theme. Had to put Chun-Li here.
I agree, and I'm glad you put it on there. The issue is that, I don't know, I feel like there's not enough bass to this song. It feels kind of flat almost, if that makes sense. Like, it feels like the main instrumentation is the only thing that's there. And that kind of turns me off of this version a little bit. But I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's hard not to like Chun-Li's theme, so.
Yeah, I don't think it stands up compared to some of the other remixes that's gotten over time, but it's a great theme for the game. And yeah, I think it gets better over the course of the track, maybe not necessarily the clip, but you're right. At the start of the clip, it's a little sparse. I get you. My favorite Street Fighter theme, usually, at least up there, has been Blanka theme. So Blanka's theme here, apparently in the style of Needleman from Mega Man 3. I just love the melody, and hearing it in this 8-bit Mega Man style, it suits it so perfectly, I think. Does so well for stage music. And so when I'm like, oh, I know Street Fighter themes, Chun-Li and Blanka, let's go, let's get it.
I'm glad you put this one because it was literally the third option for a cutting room floor track. As opposed to the two that I picked. Unfortunately, you don't get the Blanka ball when you beat Blanka.
Boo!
I think it's called like Tropical Hazard or something like that, where like you put down a watermelon and kick it, which is really dumb and I love it. But it's not the Blanka ball. That's what I think about when you think about Blanka. Come on! I also think about the whole jokes of like, don't trust Blanka characters, don't look at them, don't talk to them, don't shake their hand. Which I guess is a general joke that goes around the Street Fighter community. For me, my two tracks on the cutting room floor, the first is Claw Vega theme. This is another one of my favorite themes in Street Fighter 2, especially future renditions of it, but I think this one might be my new favorite rendition of the Vega theme.
Oh, neat.
Like, wow, this one really translates really well into 8-bit, especially with the really fast-paced, what would usually be an acoustic guitar in the song, and it's still got that flair to it, that Spanish flair that Vega has, and it's really good, and it seems to be using aspects of the Wily Stage 1 from Mega Man 2.
Yeah, you can totally hear just like the pace is totally fitting of that Mega Man 2 song. And yeah, you're right. The like near the end of the clip, I mean, that's super accurate.
Yeah, this version is great. I love this version. And another endgame boss theme is my second cutting room floor track, being Akuma theme. Akuma's theme in the style of Wily Stage 3 in Mega Man 3. Also, I saw people mentioning that it has bits of Wily Stage 2 from 2.
Ooh, I was thinking more of like 2 in 3.
It might have been in 3. I forgot to write down the one that people were saying. But I believe people were saying like it's 3 and 2 from Mega Man 3. I think that's correct. Mashed up with Akuma's theme. And Akuma's theme is, in general, really cool. I don't think it holds up to like the Marvel version of Akuma's theme, but I think it's really good.
Yeah, it's the pitch bending that is really cool to see it here, and it's fitting because that's also in Akuma's. But yeah, again, to have it in the Wily stage theme, yeah, you're right. It doesn't have the same sort of energy, pace, frenetic nature, but I mean, that's Akuma's theme. That's just it, is what it is.
Mm-hmm. So what will I never forget about Street Fighter Cross Mega Man? Well, considering I forgot this game existed until like 2 weeks ago, the answer appears to be everything. I mostly, when I think about this game, I just remember how that period of time just sucked for Mega Man in general, because it felt almost like Capcom was like going out of their way to destroy Mega Man, and that's where you got Mighty Number 9, which that sure happened. But I do remember there's sort of being this mix of like, oh, this looks really cool, a Mega Man game where you fight the Street Fighter characters, and also, really guys, this is your Mega Man 25th anniversary game? Some game that one guy is making that you're just going to put your name on at the last... Really? This is it? It comes from a very conflicting time period for the franchise.
For sure, and even to the point where I had even forgotten that I still have it on my computer somewhere. But when we're talking about fan games that became official releases, with all those themes and similarities that we listed, we picked some good ones this week with Sonic Mania and Street Fighter Cross Mega Man. So that'll do it for us this week on Original Soundchat. You can find me on Twitter at PeteSpeakEasy. Joe is over at Thidobaga. The video version of the show is on the Rhymes with Asia YouTube channel, but it's that MP3 podcast version that you want, hosted by Anonymous Dinosaur at anondino.squarespace.com. It's where Joe's other podcast, Smasherpieces, is hosted, and you can find Smasherpieces and Original Soundchat on podcast services around the globe, wherever you get your podcasts, including on Spotify, where we have a feed for the episodes, but we also have a playlist where if we mention a song from a video game on this show and it's on Spotify, it goes on that playlist. Joe, anything being added this week?
Street Fighter Cross Mega Man is not on Spotify, but again, if you want that soundtrack, go buy it off of A Rival's Bandcamp. It's a good purchase. I went ahead and made that. But as far as I could tell, Sonic Mania is, but it's not all like organized into one album. So I'm going to have to make sure it's the originals and not just remixes. And those might end up on there. Friends, I know for a fact, is on there. So there's that.
There's something there. Yeah, that's good. That's good. And then you can find us on social media once you're done listening at Soundchat OST. Leave feedback for us for how we're doing, and also suggestions for games that you'd like us to cover, because that's our big goal in 2021, to do more of those. Merch store still to be determined. Got to find a new place that doesn't support bad things.
Yeah.
And then we're working on bonus tracks like Best of 2017, where you may have heard one game be included this episode. Joe, who are we talking about next week?
I will be talking about Tobias Lilja.
Ooh, it's my birthday week episode, so picking a weird game to go back to, and we're covering Tom Salta. Should be a good episode there. All right, Joe, let's play us out.
So, unsurprisingly, I could not find remixes specifically from this game, because it's a soundtrack of mostly remixes. So that's not too surprising. So I figured I'd just throw in one that people might be yelling at me about for not including. And that is the Street Fighter Cross Mega Man version of Ryu's theme, which is a mashup of Ryu's theme with bits and pieces of Flashman's stage from Mega Man 2. So yeah, enjoy that.
It's a classic. It's good to wrap up the show with. Thank you so much for listening this week on Original Soundchat. We'll see you next time. Take care.